This NFL Mailbag is presented by Magic Spoon. Maybe nobody's spooning with you. Why? Maybe because you put on a few LBs. If you still want to be able to eat whatever the heck you want and have it taste great, Magic Spoon is a healthy cereal too good to be true. It's magicspoon.com/chat. I promise you, you get one bite of the stuff and you're absolutely hooked. First question coming in here is from Doom. I'm going to be doomed if I run out of Magic Spoon because then I got to go, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Hypothetical trade. Lockett for Howard, good or bad? So Tyler Lockett for Xavien Howard straight up. I'll tell you what, it's pretty interesting. The issue is I don't really see why Miami would go ahead and do it because they already have a lot of really talented receivers. So I'm actually going to say Miami says no. Let's go to Chris, 24/7. Where does Travis Kelce rank among the best tight ends of all time? Wow, it's a phenomenal question. So Travis Kelce has 5 1,000-yard seasons. He is the only tight end in NFL history to have that. In fact, no other tight end has more than 3. When I first thought of this question, I was like, oh, well, he's had Patrick Mahomes. But then he's also done it twice with Alex Smith. So 2 1,000-yard seasons with Alex Smith, 3 with Mahomes. I mean, he's had some phenomenal years up there. He's definitely in the top 10. I don't know if he'll ever be the best Chiefs tight end of all time because I still think that belongs to Tony Gonzalez, who is actually number 1 on my list. It's between him and Antonio Gates. But if he keeps playing like this for another 2, 3, 4 years, I mean, there's no reason why he can't be in the top 5. All right, Bulls for Life YouTube. Will my Bears trade for Stephon Gilmore? I'll make you a deal. If they do trade for Stephon Gilmore, our Bears channel with Harrison Grant is going to be breaking it down for you. You can go to youtube.com/Bears now. That way you don't miss it. But in terms of overall best fits for Gilmore, I do have the Bears in my top 5. This next one's coming in here from Jason Joyner. Can the Seahawks make the Super Bowl this year? Of course they can. One of the biggest tricks is going to be getting through that NFC West because the Rams are a legit team, Cardinals are a legit team, 49ers are a legit team. So, they're going to beat up each other. That's 6 very tough games to see how good the Seahawks are going to be. If they want to take that next step, though, they need to be better in the secondary. I'm not worried about their offense. I'm not worried about their running game. I'm not even worried about their offensive line because you have Russell Wilson. That defense, though, it needs to be better, and it was their big Achilles heel last season. We got Dominic Hessler. Bears sign Brian Poole. If you need a slot cornerback, Brian Poole's the top guy to go out and get. Last season, he battled a shoulder injury, which is why he ended up on the IR. But he is my top slot corner. PFF did their rankings of the top slot corners out of the market. He actually finished top 5. I'm telling you, this guy, he's a competitor. He's a really good player. 79 overall, at least grade on PFF the past 2 seasons. So if you think that you need a slot corner, Brian Poole, he's your guy. If you need to eat healthier, Magic Spoon is the cereal for you. How do you get your hands on this stuff? MagicSpoon.com/chat. It's going to be in the live community. It's also going to be down in the comments section below. But you can also save $5 off your very first order by going to that link. If you're wondering what kind of flavors they have, they got frosted, they got blueberry, cocoa. Up here you can see cinnamon as well. I promise you, think of the best cereal you had as a kid, and now imagine it being healthy for you. That's exactly what Magic Spoon is. 13 grams of protein, 4 grams of net carbs, 0. I'm going to say that again. 0 grams of sugar per bowl and only 140 calories. So if you got a sweet tooth like me, whether you want to eat it in the morning, breakfast, I've actually even had it for dinner here a few times at the studios, but definitely at night, that's when I crave sweet foods. I promise you, Magic Spoon is definitely going to help you out here. It's MagicSpoon.com/chat. High in protein, sweet and delicious, low carbs, also keto friendly as well. No GMOs, so you're not going to get any of these weird ingredients. And if you don't like it, you can send it back and get your money back, 100% guaranteed. At the link below, MagicSpoon.com/chat. We got MCM. Hello from Germany. Vegatus Deer. What do you think Daniel Jones will do next season? I guess I should ask Marshall that because he's the Giants fan here in the office. Or I guess even Ryan, the new guy, he's a Giants fan as well. Daniel Jones has all the talent around him in the world, and Kenny Golladay is probably the perfect guy for Jones. The issue is I don't really think Daniel Jones is all that talented. So I'm curious to see what he does myself, but I can't legitimately look at you and say I'm confident in Daniel Jones taking that next step. But I'm curious where you're at from Germany. I used to live in Cologne, so no, ein bisschen Deutsch. We got Jim McCormick. Should Seattle give Duane Brown a contract extension? He's pretty old. He's definitely old. I believe he's like 35.8 years. I know that we have a graphic around it, so that's why it came off the top of my head. but he's still one of the best offensive tackles in the league. And if you are going to give him an extension, I mean, he's still going to make halfway decent money this year. But if I'm Brown and I'm his agent, I'm looking at the deal that Trent Williams just made, right? Like 6 years, basically getting like, what was it, $20 million or like $18 million a year. And he is getting paid a hefty amount of money. So if I'm Brown, I'm like, why the hell can't I get $18 to $19 million a year? He's had some injury issues in the past, but like Brown is a solid dude for Russell. But if you are also trying to keep Russ happy, maybe you do need to go ahead and give him an extension. So Duane Brown is definitely one of the top offensive linemen. Ryan Ramczyk earlier this week ended up getting a deal on Wednesday. So who's the best offensive tackle in the National Football League? Go down in the comments section and let me know. I imagine we're going to get a lot of Ramczyks. If you can spell his name without Googling it, my hat's off to you. Trent Williams probably also going to be a lot of the votes that come in as well. This one's from Niner Faithful. If you're not a big fan of the 49ers, please go ahead and check out our channel, youtube.com/49erstv. Do you think Nick Bosa could win Comeback Player of the Year while leading the defensive alongside Fred Warner? I actually think the player most likely to win Comeback Player of the Year on the defensive side of the ball, it is Nick Bosa. The only person I'll say has a better chance, maybe 2 players, maybe even 3 players have a better chance. Christian McCaffrey because he plays running back, Saquon Barkley because he plays running back in a big market, and then Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has by far the best chance to win Comeback Player of the Year. Quarterback and plays for the Cowboys. All right, we got Jason_Joyner. Who going to have more receiving yards and touchdowns, DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett? If you would have asked me this question last year, I would have said Tyler Lockett. But DK Metcalf has now surpassed Lockett as the number 1 receiver on that team. Last season, Metcalf had 129 targets, 1,300 yards, and I believe 10 touchdowns. He is the number 1 receiver on that team, so I'm going to say more yards and also more touchdowns for DK. That's also not disrespecting Lockett. That's one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver duo in the entire league. We got Unknown Ethan, Saints tight end targets to support Adam T. I mean, I'll tell you what. I can't really confidently tell you what the Saints are going to do at the tight end position. They have a quarterback playing tight end, or they have a tight end playing quarterback with Taysom Hill. But the Saints, this is probably one of the first times in quite some time that I just can't honestly sit here and say I'm confident in the tight ends. But it's also because Drew Brees isn't there, so something to keep in mind. We got Christian Navarro. You're next up here on NFL Daily. Is Ryan Jenson a top 10 center in the NFL? I mean, making him a top 10 center might be a little bit of a stretch for me. I mean, let me get some extra information on him to see how he did in terms of overall. But Jenson for the Buccaneers, he's had some pretty solid years, especially last season, over 1,000 snaps. But overall grade on PFF is 64.9. That to me tells me he's probably a little bit more middle of the pack. I wasn't 100% prepared on giving you my Ryan Jenson analysis, but he is a pretty solid run blocker, not so good in pass blocking. So I'm going to say no, not top 10, but probably top 20. So if you guys haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to Chat Sports Live every single week. Monday and Wednesday is our NFL live shows. Friday, you get our NBA content. But I believe we're actually going to start ramping up some of our NBA content simply because this is kind of the year, or the off season, if you will, for NBA channels and for all this NBA news. So if you guys could, go down in the comments section, hit that big red button that says subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. It'll be in the live comment section as well. Let's go to Edward Randall. What is the ceiling and floor for Pitts this year in Atlanta? Great question. I'll say floor is probably 400 receiving yards. That's if he doesn't get hurt. Ceiling is like 800. The issue is tight ends don't always succeed in that first year because there's a lot of different adjustment periods. Is Calvin Ridley still going to be that wide receiver 1? But Pitts could definitely be second on the team in targets. So I'll say ceiling 800 receiving yards, 6-7 touchdowns, floor 400 yards. But if that happens, I'd be pretty shocked. Rex Morgan, you're next up here. We got, where does the Dallas receiving core rank now that Dak is back? Actually, what I want you to do, Rex, is go check out our TikTok because Tom Downey decided to break down the top 5 receiver cores. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's on our TikTok at Chat Sports, which was just launched. So I don't want to spoil it for you. It's at Chat Sports TV on TikTok if you have it. But they're definitely in the top 5. But I want you to see where Tom had them ranked. Sambo, Geno Atkins to the Titans. Tennessee definitely needs extra interior defensive line help. They also need help being able to get after the quarterback. Geno Atkins is coming off a bad year, but that's because simply the Bengals didn't use him correctly. But if you need a DT, I still think Geno Atkins has got some gas in that tank. Speaking of the Titans, do you think that they're going to end up winning the AFC South? Get your votes in here. If you think it's going to be the Houston Texans, I would say that you're a crazy man, type H. The Jacksonville Jaguars, type J. The Tennessee Titans, give me a T. Indianapolis Colts, type I. I'm going to go ahead and type my T for Titans. The next best team is the Colts. Then I'm actually going to say the Jags, followed by the last place, Houston. Lots and lots of questions here on today's NFL Live show. I couldn't get to them all, so don't get mad at me. You can always hit me up, though, and ask me these questions at MitchellRenz365. My DMs are open for a reason. And I'm also going to be doing a lot more IG Live, so something to keep in mind. If you want to give producer Jack a follow, whether you're trying to stay up to date on NFL, whether you're trying to stay up to date on the latest movie reviews, that's what Jack likes to do on Twitter. Go give him a follow. You can see it down there below at Jack Lauderay. It's also in the comments. It's in the description. It's even in the description of this live video. So go give me and Jack a follow. We would really appreciate it. All right, this next question coming up here on NFL Daily from Sambo. Would you rather have Godwin and Evans or Julio and A.J. Brown? Great question. I'm going to go Julio and A.J. Brown because I have Julio and Brown both in my top 10 for wide receivers. Godwin is at number 10 exactly. Mike Evans is at like 12 or 13 for me. So I'm going to go Julio and A.J. Brown. Gaming and blogs. What would it take for Washington to get Aaron? I believe you mean Aaron Rodgers. You don't mean Aaron or Allen Robinson. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers. What is it going to take? It's going to take a lot, right? Like, if you want to tell me the best scenarios for Rodgers and where I think he can win right away, Washington would be a great spot. Even a place like Las Vegas, I think, would be a good spot for him. Denver would be a phenomenal spot. But for Washington to get him, you got to give up, honestly, man, probably 3 first-round picks, maybe a second-round pick, because Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though he's good, there's no reason why the Green Bay Packers would honestly want him. Tyrone Williams, who can the Eagles add at cornerback right now? I would say Nicole Roby-Coleman, but he's just got done being there. I mean, the top 2 cornerbacks on the market, Richard Sherman and then Steven Nelson. If I had to say the guy that could probably help them out the most right away and would make the most sense would actually be Nelson because he was just in Pittsburgh last season, so he can basically stay in Pennsylvania. But I'm going to go ahead and say Steven Nelson.